I mean, it depends on where you come from. I mean, not geography-wise, but however you stand, you can see games as just a piece of entertainment, or you can attach a lot of bias towards a game, saying that a game can turn people to kill, do crime, steal cars, as with the Grand Theft Auto series when it first came out. A lot of crimes were attached to it, and it virtually became a scapegoat for nearly everything that happened.
Maybe, because when I play a beat 'em up, like I always play Soul Calibur, I get a bit angry and, but mostly it just relaxes me, but yeah.
It all depends on the people, I suppose. Depending on people, whether people have mental problems or not.
I'm Alan Tyler, I'm 41 years old, I'm Curriculum Manager for Art and Design at Walsall College, and I collect video arcade machines. I think I've got somewhere in the region of about 40 machines at the moment, and they range from some very early kind of Pong clones from probably about 1973 onwards. I think the latest machine I own is probably about 1982, something like that. But I mean, pretty much own all of the kind of classics: Space Invaders, Pac-Man, Defender, Battlezone, blah blah blah, all that sort, kind of all the kind of well-known games of that era. I suppose in some ways it was kind of like the future. You got games like Battlezone, which were very simple wireframe graphics, but that kind of stuff was prevalent in the kind of cinema and that sort of thing at the time as being a very futuristic kind of visual kind of thing, and just I suppose the excitement of things like that really. One of the things that I got really, or that kind of made me less interested in gaming, was the closer they got to reality and the more that the technology was able to produce accurate representations of the world around me, the less I actually got interested in it. So I suppose my interest in things is the more kind of abstract visual, stuff, the simpler graphics, I suppose, in a way. Electronic media as a kind of entertainment form was in its infancy, really. So there was, nothing existed like it does today. So it was effectively either kind of home computers, your kind of ZX81s, your ZX80s, your Spectrums, or TRS-80s, Commodore PETs, that kind of thing. Or arcade machines, and that was it really. And I think I was never really that much into home computers. It was a bit too tedious really. You could spend hours and hours typing in lines of BASIC only to find that your game was really buggy and it didn't work. So I think the arcades always held that kind of fascination for me really. I don't know about improving social skills. I mean, gaming for me has always been a social activity, whether it's back when I was a kid it was down the chip shop with your mates, or whether it's kind of back from the pub and playing a few games with friends then. I think in terms of kind of stress release, yeah, I mean it's always really good to kind of lose yourself and kind of get zoned out, just so kind of engaged with something. Yeah, so I do play them for that reason sometimes. I think what's always interested me about these machines, as I say, is the kind of purity, the simplicity of the gameplay, the simplicity of the graphics, the interfacing. Because early games were often quite primitive in terms of the technology and what they could achieve on screen. People said it about film, they said it about music. I suppose the only difference with games is that you're actually immersing yourself in a world in which you actually can virtually kill people or do stuff. Coin-op video games for me represent a kind of a notion of almost like this kind of completeness, holistic kind of thing in a way. But by that I mean it's like, because of the interest I've got, I'm interested in the technology, the graphics, the actual kind of physical construction of these, the kind of electronic aspects of them. So there's a kind of, I'm not just a kind of player or consumer, I'm kind of into the whole thing, if you know what I mean. And I suppose that in a way is the thing that's kept it sort of fresh with me.
Keep doing what they're doing, like more interactivity, like kind of being able to interact with everything around you like in real life.
I think I'd like to see more reality, as in virtual reality, actually being able to put like those goggles on and actually be able to go into the environment and whatnot.
Everyone will want us to be less violent in games and have less violence within media.
I don't want them to get too realistic. I want them to stay like cartoony graphics and yeah.
The medium of video games has come a long way, spawning off movies, TV shows, cartoons and endless merchandise. Characters like Mario, Sonic and Lara Croft are recognised globally by gamers and non-gamers alike. Narrative in games are so intense and intricate now that they are just, as if not more so, as encapsulating as films and books. It is this culture that has been built over the years that makes the impact of video games that have such a strong influence on people today.